You've been told your whole life that you need to pick one thing, one career, one passion, one identity. And every time someone said that to you, something deep inside you went quiet. Not because they were right, but because you didn't have the words yet to explain why they were so wrong about you. This video is those words. You're 12 years old, and you've just finished your third notebook in 2 months. One is filled with drawings. Another has song lyrics you wrote at 2 a.m. The third one has a half-finished story about a girl who discovers she can read other people's emotions. Your teacher pulls you aside and says, "You're so bright. You just need to focus." Fast forward 15 years. You've studied 2 different degrees. Started a business, abandoned it. Started a blog, quit it. You picked up photography, then pottery, then psychology. You have a drawer full of half-finished journals and a brain that never, ever stops moving. And somewhere along the way, you internalized a lie. That something is broken in you. Here's what I want you to know right now, before we go any deeper. Nothing is broken. Your brain isn't scattered. It isn't undisciplined. It isn't confused. It's an M-type brain, and it might be one of the most powerful psychological profiles that exists. The M stands for multipotentialite. It's a mind wired for multidimensional learning, rapid adaptation, deep curiosity across multiple fields all at once. Think less scattered person and more Renaissance mind. Leonardo da Vinci wasn't just a painter. He was a scientist, an engineer, an anatomist, a musician, and an architect. He didn't fail at focus. He succeeded at everything, precisely because his brain refused to be imprisoned by just one discipline. Ada Lovelace, Marie Curie, Natalie Portman, who graduated from Harvard's psychology program while winning an Oscar. These weren't women who couldn't make up their minds. These were women whose minds were too vast to be contained by one label. When neuroscientists study the brains of multipotentialites, what they find is extraordinary. There's an unusual level of integration between the brain's analytical hemisphere and its creative hemisphere. Most people tend to favor one over the other, but the M-type brain runs both simultaneously. It's building a logical framework with one hand and painting an abstract mural with the other at the same time. This is why you can be the person in the room who sees a connection between 2 completely unrelated things that nobody else noticed. Your brain is doing rapid pattern recognition across multiple knowledge systems at once. You're pulling threads from your psychology phase, your design phase, your music phase, your marketing phase, and weaving them into something entirely new. That's not a liability. That's a cognitive superpower. Research from the University of Wisconsin found that people with diverse interests consistently show higher levels of creativity and problem-solving ability than their more specialized counterparts. The world doesn't have a surplus of people who can do one thing very well. It has a desperate shortage of people who can connect the dots between many things. But here's where it gets complicated. And I want to be honest with you here, because you deserve honesty, not just hype. Living inside an M-type brain is not easy. There's a specific kind of exhaustion that comes with it. Not the exhaustion of working too hard. The exhaustion of being constantly misunderstood. You start something new and you feel it, that electric spark. The all-consuming hunger to learn everything about this new world. You go deep fast. You absorb information at a rate that surprises even the people around you. And then, after weeks or months, something shifts. The spark starts to dim. Not because you failed, but because you've learned what you came to learn. The challenge has plateaued. Your brain is ready to move. So you move. And the people around you look at you and say, "There she goes again. Can't commit to anything." That voice, the one that says you're flighty, inconsistent, too much, eventually you start to believe it. You start apologizing for the width of your mind. You start performing the version of yourself that is small, focused, singular. The version that fits on a business card. And that's when the real damage happens. Because when a woman with an M-type brain tries to shrink herself into a single specialty, it doesn't just feel boring. It feels like slow suffocation. Pause for a moment and ask yourself this honestly. How many times have you felt shame about the number of things you love? Not just mild embarrassment. Real, deep shame. The kind that made you hide your notebooks, downplay your interests, laugh nervously when someone asked what you really do. That shame isn't yours. It was handed to you by a culture that was built around specialization. A culture that decided, centuries ago, that the highest form of intelligence is depth in one direction. But that was the industrial age. That was a world that needed human beings to function like machines. One task. Repeat, repeat, repeat. We are not in that world anymore. The world we actually live in now, the world of rapid technological change, where entire industries can disappear in 5 years. Where the most valuable people are the ones who can adapt, connect, and innovate across disciplines. This world was literally built for you. The first struggle is the cycle of excitement and abandonment. You dive in, you burn bright, you leave, and then you feel guilty about every project you didn't finish, every skill you didn't master, every version of yourself you tried on, and then quietly set down. But here's a reframe I want you to sit with. What if unfinished doesn't mean failed? What if it means integrated? You took what that season had to teach you. You absorbed it. You moved on. That's not a character flaw. That's how evolution works. The second struggle is the career question. What do you do? For words that can make an M-type woman feel like she's falling through a trap door. Because you do so many things. You've been so many things. And none of the boxes seem to fit. The most successful multipotentialites don't try to wedge themselves into a single box. They find roles that are naturally multidisciplinary, environments that let them wear many hats. Or they build their own lanes entirely. They become the connector, the translator, the one who speaks the language of multiple worlds. That is not a consolation prize. In a world where most people are deeply specialized and narrowly siloed, the person who can move fluidly between worlds is not the weakest link. She's the most strategic asset in the room. The third struggle is the relationship dynamic. M-type women often describe a specific loneliness. Not loneliness from lack of connection, but loneliness from lack of being truly known. Because you're so many things at once, people often latch onto just one version of you. The creative one, the analytical one, the ambitious one. And when you try to show them all of you, they get overwhelmed or confused. And the part that hurts is that you start to wonder if you even know what's going on with you. But this is the thing. You don't have a single self to know. You have a constellation. And not everyone has the capacity to see the whole sky. Almost none of the women who changed the world stayed in their lane. Ada Lovelace was a mathematician who wrote poetry and dreamed of a computing machine in 1843, over a century before computers existed. She saw connections that nobody else could see, because she refused to be just one thing. Hedy Lamarr was one of Hollywood's biggest stars in the 1940s. She was also an inventor who co-developed the frequency-hopping communication technology that is the direct ancestor of the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth you're using right now. These women weren't celebrated in their time for their multipotentiality. In fact, they were often dismissed. History had to catch up to them. The first shift is from shame to narration. Instead of apologizing for your range, learn to narrate it. When someone asks what you do, try this. I work at the intersection of, and then name 2 or 3 of your worlds. This does something powerful. It reframes your diversity as an identity, not a symptom. You stop shrinking. You start owning. The second shift is from completion to integration. Stop measuring your success by how many things you finish. Start measuring it by how many things you've woven together. Your knowledge from your psychology phase and your design phase and your writing phase didn't disappear when you moved on. It's all inside you. It's a resource bank. The goal isn't to use one currency. The goal is to know how rich the whole portfolio actually is. The third shift is from fitting in to building your own architecture. The traditional career model was not built for you. That's not a tragedy. That's a creative invitation. Some M-type women thrive in hybrid roles that formally cross disciplines. Some build businesses where they are the product, the full, multidimensional, integrated human product. Some create content that becomes the thread connecting all of their worlds. The point is, you are not broken because you don't fit the existing structure. You are the person who builds the new one. And that changes everything. There will be moments, maybe tonight, maybe next week, when the doubt creeps back in. When you start a new interest and hear that old voice that says, here you go again. When someone at a dinner party asks what you do and you feel that familiar ache of not having a clean answer. In those moments, I want you to remember this. The people who changed the world were almost never the ones who stayed in their lane. They were the ones who saw that the lane itself was too small. Your brain was not made for a single lane. It was made for the whole road, and all of the roads that branch off from it, and all of the worlds that exist at the intersections. You are not scattered. You are vast. And the world, whether it knows it yet or not, desperately needs everything that you are. Stop waiting for permission to be all of the things that you are. Stop waiting for a label that fits neatly on a business card. The label is you, and you are already enough. Every interest you've ever had was not a detour. It was a deposit. It was your brain investing in the full version of who you are becoming. Nothing was wasted. Not one single thing. So the next time someone asks you to pick one thing, smile. Because you already know something they don't. You were never meant to pick just one. You are not scattered. You are vast. Remember this.
Like to learn more about human psychology? Like, comment, and share this video. Subscribe my channel now. Thank you for watching.